Bonjour and welcome to all you comic book geeks, readers and collectors. I've got a little special edition of COMICHat for you. As you may have noticed by the thumbnail you've obviously clicked on to get here, I want to talk about the latest X-Men releases in the past month. Because, just to give you some context, so obviously by now you realise, welcome any new viewers, but if you've been here for a while, you know I've been around a while. Right, don't start on me. But I've been around for a while collecting comics. Okay, so yes, hence geekyOlhog. Anyway, so I've been an X-Men fan from the beginning, but in a very traditional way. And I apologise in advance if some of the comments I've got, but overall are positive, by the way. So forgive me if I come across traditional, but the X-Men that I grew up with, which would have been, for context's sake, would have been buying John Byrne's run of X-Men back in the early mid-80s. That was when I started picking up American comics from the comic shop, embarking before even Paul. Hello, mate. Before even Paul was working there, I was buying comics. Anyway, that's a story for another day. And also Paul at Comics and Fantasy, Hornchurch, Essex. He wasn't there at the time. I don't know what he was doing, but the shop was in Barking in Essex. But anyway, that's where I was buying my X-Men comics, and I say X-Men comics, it would have been X-Men comic. It would have been Uncanny X-Men. End of. Before X-Force and all that come along, New Mutants and blah, 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 blah. I can't say I'm the biggest X-Men fan, but what I've been wanting for the past couple of years, since I have started getting back into comic books, because I did have a while off through different circumstances. So when I started getting back into collecting, and I've got like a bit of a gap, like probably a 5-8 year gap maybe. Yeah, but it's made it excellent to start getting back into the hobby again and collecting all the stuff that I missed. But what I failed to accomplish was getting back into the X-Men. I found it, the whole Krakoa thing, I found impenetrable. And when I did try, I was picking up things like the Hellfire Gala and the X-Men were being dressed up. And I've got, like I say, I do apologise if I'm coming at this from a very traditional angle, but I couldn't care less about how well you can dress up the X-Men for the Hellfire Gala. I don't care. I don't care what the designs of their dresses are. I couldn't care less. I like Emma Frost's costume as it is. Put a bit of fur on the collar, whatever you want to do. But I couldn't care less about reading a comic, all my favourite characters going to a party. If it's in an annual, a bit like back in the day, I'm really digressing here, but bear with me. With the Fantastic Four, the Lee Kirby era, I forget what number it was. Why am I thinking it was either issue annual number 2 or 6? I'm probably going to be wrong. Let me know in the comments what annual it was. But it was when Sue and Reed got married. And you had all of the Marvel characters there. And there was a plot afoot to ruin the wedding. Now that's a really, really soap opera kind of storyline. And it was off on the side in an annual. So yes, if you are going to do a Hellfire, I'm trying to balance my commentary here. You can see I'm sweating. Because I know people are going to come at me for this. I know they are. Please don't. I'm a nice person. I'm a nice little hog. Anyway. That's off on the side. So if this Hellfire Gala event was off on the side, the completist in me would think, oh, I'll just get the annual. But anyway, I'm really, really digressing. But yeah, it should have been, things like that should be saved for that. Because what is the audience for these comics? Come on. I'll leave that question hanging. Because it just seemed like the whole Krakoa thing and a lot of the ancillary titles was, one, impenetrable. And then when I did have a go, it was pretty dire. It was pretty dire. I obviously wasn't the audience, a long time comic book fan. So what I've been hoping for, getting right back into it from the ashes, is I'm hoping they've had a little bit of a wobble, a head wobble, and thought, yeah, why are we not targeting the fans of the traditional X-Men franchise? And it is massive. And there is scope to do so many stories, so many storylines, and tackle so many subjects when it's given to the correct writers and you've got the correct editorial intent, to not ignore the fact that some people just want an adventure, an issue, or they want a 6-issue story arc of a mission, which is, come on, it's where we should be. For me anyway, that's my personal. But what I think Marvel are doing at the moment, and I've got 6, and if you've seen the thumbnail, you know the 6. And what I think this does is show that Marvel really is using all of the available material, which I am really, really enjoying. And what I mean by all the available material is that all of the characters, you think of the big, I did prefer it when the X-Men were just one team and it was the main team and it was all the main characters, and we will get to that. The latest release, the Uncanny X-Men, the new #1 by Gail Simone. We will get to that. But what, apart from the Ashes beginnings, all the new #1s, we have already had, don't know why I didn't take that out of the bag because I know it's going to be a glare. And while I will waffle while I take it out of the bag so it doesn't show the glares. This is how professional it gets with me. If you aren't picking up this book and you want something different, then yeah, I would say this isn't X-Men, but they are playing, like I say, they are just playing around with the toys. And Peach Momoko is the maddest one to play with the toys available. But I am really, really enjoying this. If you are not, if you're not familiar with Peach Momoko's artwork and her storytelling, it is a thing to behold. Yes. And her take on the X-Men, done from Japanese, because it's Ultimate X-Men, we're kind of going back to teenagers, but they're in Japan. I don't know if it's Tokyo or whatever. And because it's Ultimates, the Ultimate Universe, you can kind of go off on one. But this shows you what can be done when you go off on that tangent. But nevertheless, I wanted my old X-Men back. With my big lip. I wanted my old X-Men back. So as much as I was enjoying Ultimate X-Men for the past 6 months, this From the Ashes storyline, the first release, unfortunately, the first one I bought was this. And I will, if you might as well skip this bit if you're one of my regulars, because you know how much I absolutely detest this comic. Apart from the cover, I'm glad I bought the variant cover. I don't normally go into very rarely go into variants, but I did think, because it's got Ms. Marvel in it, Marvel Girl, whatever you call her. No, it's not Marvel Girl, is it? Because that was a great character from the 60s X-Men. And look, why would you walk through, if you're late for school, why would you walk through traffic on a bridge? That wound me up straight away. Why have you got a double-page spread? And it was really, really unusual because Jackson, Lansing, is it what they're now? Lansing and I love their writing. I can't believe this is such a Jackson, Lansing and Colin Kelly. I can't believe that they have created such a misfire. I didn't have a clue who Sophie Cuckoo, is it? You're Sophie Cuckoo, Ms. Marvel says, or Kamala says in a scene. She's got her coffee and she goes, poof, when they on her way to school. And then her and Sophie go to school. Oh, and there's a teacher that is talking about mutants and then they go to a nightclub, but they're underage, but they get in and then they get into some trouble. And then Kamala keep drawing her like Spider-Man swinging around on her floppy arms. No, absolutely. So we were off to we were off to a bad start. A very, very bad start. But what Marvel have done, so if you haven't already tuned out and given me hate in the comments, please don't do that. Because it's only this one comic. Just let me tell you how bad a comic that is. Please, I'm warning you. And that's only going to go one way. And you lot will have to tell me, because I will not be getting issue 2 of that. And those 2 writers, I followed all the way through that. Was it Annihilation and that big massive Marvel thing they was at the forefront of with Guardians of the Galaxy and this whole cosmic thing going on? Those 2 were nailing it. God knows what happened there, but I don't know if this was the same week or I've got these 2 the wrong way round. This was a pleasant surprise because of the fact that I do like the Cosmic Odyssey storylines, etc., etc. So this was a welcome surprise. Like where I'm talking about Annihilation and all that, and it was a galaxy universe spanning story. This takes Phoenix kind of like completely out of the equation in a way. This isn't. I know it's from the Ashes in X-Men, and she's an X-Man. Are we allowed to say that? Oh, don't know. No, man. We don't go there. I'm only being facetious now because I'm excited to be talking about X-Men. But anyway, this puts her out amongst the stars, takes her off of Earth, and apart from her being in communication with Scott, yeah, she was. Sorry, yeah. Apart from that, it's and she's I love you and all that, and it's but nevertheless she is light years away. I really enjoyed this because it takes her like Ultimate X-Men. It takes the characters and it spins them, sends them off. But we do need to get back to basics, don't we? Not get back to basics going to school and spilling your coffee and just talking about your teacher at school of NYX. But now it begins. Now we're back on the ground. And now via Jed MacKay, who I really enjoy his run on Doctor Strange at the moment. Not so much, a lot of, he's hit and miss for me. But this, I would say, is mostly a hit. It's mostly a hit, but I didn't really have a clue. What I thought they were going to do is kind of reboot it and give everyone. This didn't quite do it, and I think it just might be the mix of characters, but also Jed MacKay's writing. He does have his tongue in his cheek, which on Doctor Strange I'm really, really enjoying. And the relationship between Doctor Strange and Clea in the main Doctor Strange run at the moment is superb. I love the dynamic there. So I am going to give this one more of a chance. NYX is done. This one, I would say, is off to a shaky start, but Ryan Stegman's artwork brings it back, and there is plenty of action there. But I'm just not sure. I'm not sure about what I'm not in, you know, I should be really, really loving it, but I don't know why I didn't. So perhaps another 2 or 3 issues I can kind of solidify my thoughts about that. But as an introductory issue, which is what we have got to consider across all of these, even NYX, I just think it's just not for me. That NYX one just isn't aimed for me. But as an introductory issue to get us back into it, leaves a few threads open. Yeah, gonna stick with that. Then they up the ante. Now this was everything I wanted. 100% everything I wanted. And it's X-Force. Now, I know they've got the luxury of having Deadpool in it. But what they did with this comic was, I mean, I can remember Forge, the character, but I haven't read X-Men for years. What they did is, in the storyline, they just mentioned what he does and what his powers are. And then the next character we meet, they just mention what they do and what their powers are. And he's assembling a team. Forge is assembling X-Force. But they don't dance around it. They're not all coy about it. It's literally, right, I'm getting the band back together. And I loved it for that. And they went on a mission, but the success of that mission has led on to issue 2. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it for me. And and to be fair, it's a writer I've never heard of. Thorne, is it? I was going to say Frank Thorne then, the artist on Red Sonja from years ago. Oh, I don't know where they've put the credits in this issue, look, but I hadn't heard of him before. Artwork, Geoffrey Thorne. A great issue 1. And Marcus Toe. Spelled T-O, not T-O, there's no E in it. So Marcus 2, without a W, or 2 O's. I digress. Story, artwork, superb. So finally, from the ashes, yes, looking forward to this. Go on a mission. Here's the big bad. Yeah, use your powers. Little bit of soap opera in the meanwhile, you know. He loves her, she loves she, he loves he. Whatever you want to do in the background, do it. But get on with it. Kind of give us some, yeah, give it to us. And then the latest one. And I don't know if this is the one that we was all looking forward to the most because of the name. But I couldn't help it, could I? I couldn't help the comic geek in me couldn't help but look forward to this one. Gail Simone is a writer that I am not overly familiar with, but she has nailed it with this. I thought this was a absolutely superb introductory issue. We've got, I mean, I don't know who this is. So you long-time modern X-Men readers might know who this is. Probably do. And she's turned up at Xavier's Institute and saying, right, take the whole lot down. We're going to turn it into a prison for mutants. But within 3 or 4 pages, like that's the opening. But then we forget about her. It's kind of like swipe. And then we've got Rogue, Gambit, Wolverine and Nightcrawler. End of story. Come on. Come on. Enough said. Enough said. And I can't wait for my old mate Joe at Muscles and the Multiverse, because by the way, if you are into your modern X-Men, Krakoa era and all that, his channel is the one to go to. So please check him out. His details are in the front page, whatever you call it. I don't know what you call it. But this, yes, there was a lot and a lot. And to be fair, for modern Marvel, there was a lot of storyline in that, a lot of introduction, and a lot of strands of stories to come, and that these are these are our two hits. Definitely. The two hits of the From the Ashes for me are these. So I'm trying to pose so I can get a thumbnail. Don't know if I want to do a thumbnail really like that, or if I want to do a thumbnail of all them six and not my face. I'm not sure if my face really brings any newbies to the channel. Anyway, guys, if you're hesitating to get into the X-Men, definitely there. I think Phoenix might be a bit of an odd one. I think you've got to be long-term hardcore for Phoenix, but it's a great story. It's a great comic. If you aren't getting Ultimate X-Men, but you want something adjacent, and Peach Momoko, and you're waiting, if you're a regular, you are waiting for me to say as mad as a bag of frogs, aren't you? I knew, see, you're all cheering now. He said it. Yes, he said it. Old Peachy baby. She is as mad as a bag of frogs, and that the artwork is a beautiful thing, but it isn't really X-Men, not really. But what really is X-Men? These three From the Ashes so far. Yeah. No, they've done to varying, you know, if I was going to score the top three, third place X-Men, second place X-Force, and only because, and Uncanny only beats it because they've got our heavy hitters in there, man. Come on. Rogue, Gambit and Wolverine, come on. Oh yeah, Nightcrawler. But come on, they've got our heavy hitters in there, so that's why that just pips it to number one. So what I'll do, I had all of the intentions of making this a really quick appraisal of the X-Men books at the moment, and I've still gone into 20 odd. So I do apologise and love you all if you've stayed with me this far. I love you all. If you're subscribing, if you're getting into the comments as well, I know a few of you are. I really, really enjoy it. A couple of you have been giving me little hints and tips about different things and saying, come on, Hog, no, that's not that. But I love it. I can't, you know, I'm just a fan. I'm just like you, but I'm, you know, don't know why, you know, whatever I'm doing is, yeah. So keep commenting, keep liking. You can't keep subscribing, can you? Because you can only do that once. But if you haven't, please. It just makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm not alone in the comic book collecting, reading universe. And I don't know how the Americans do it. I don't know how the Americans do the sell. You're good at it. I just can't do the whole thing. Anyway, I digress. Thank you so much, guys. If you're still with me, right at the end of my video the end of my video ramble, and until next time, let me know if you've picked up these any of these X-Men books, and until next time, I will bid you all adios.